It's Carne, no longer in a car, not in a car, probably till August, September, I don't even know. So it is Quarantine Con Carne. I'm James Van Ostel, and Con Carne tonight, sponsored by Siren Records McHenry, now offering curbside pickup and online ordering. Check out their new website at sirenrecordsmchenry.com. If you're in a band or own a label or just want to get your product in a real, honest-to-God brick-and-mortar store, message them on social media or call the store. Siren Records McHenry, always looking to support local music. Con Carne also sponsored tonight by C&H Financial Services, freeprocessingnow.com. Their web address. I always believed, I still believe that Tuesday night's the worst. Tuesday in general is the worst day of the week. Monday, you kind of spring into action. It's a new week. Wednesday, you're halfway there. Thursday, well, Friday's tomorrow and Friday's Friday. Tuesday is always kind of the crappiest day of the week, which makes it important to do things like this. Cocktail Time with Thomas Moore from Let Us Entertain You. Thomas is the Divisional Bar Training Manager for Let Us Entertain You restaurants, and he is here to talk booze on a Tuesday night. Do you agree that Tuesdays just kind of stink?
I try not to attribute negative thoughts to particular days of the week, but yes, I would say traditionally not a happy day. It's kind of that weird limbo before.
That's it. It is. It's limbo. It's totally limbo. All right. So we are live on Facebook as we do this. I want to thank Chancho and Jeff for checking this out, and more to come there. So how long have you been working for Lettuce?
I started with Lettuce at the end of 2016, right after I moved to Chicago. And so 3.5-ish rounding years.
I think me, like anyone who's lived in this area for any length of time, Let Us Entertain You is a part of our lives. I mean, I remember as a small child being taken to RJ Grunt's over in Lincoln Park. When I became an adult, Babariba was like the go-to dating place. Elwoods is one of my favorite places in the city or suburbs. So I have great fondness for all the Lettuce restaurants and the nicer ones too, Wildfire, etc. But you handle bar training. So you are a spirit master. You are my spirit animal tonight.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say master.
Can I call you my spirit animal?
The one thing, sure. Yeah, I love that. The one thing I have noticed the further I go down this path is the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know yet. Unfortunately, I'm a curious person. So, I buy books, I read constantly about it. I just I get really, everybody has that thing that they're nerdy about. I'm really nerdy about this, and I like to learn about it. So,
well, if you're not challenged, know everything. Yeah, if you're not challenged, if you know it all and what you do, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, if you think you know it all, you're wrong. Really.
Absolutely right. So we're going to talk in a couple minutes about some drinks we can make as we're stuck at home, because that's it. We're stuck. So we need to be able to make drinks that are not complicated, but also not too common. We want to be able to do things that are interesting and can kind of light us up as we're just looking for distraction. Is it always 5 o'clock at your house?
I think more specifically, it's always R&D at my house. You can see kind of behind me, I have shelves of
there's the research and development
here, and then off to this corner is another, like I guess what you would call like a dining room sideboard. Is not actually a sideboard, it's just filled with more bottles. So I'm always kind of tinkering and
not even focusing on the higher end stuff. Is gin the safest bet when it comes to ordering well liquor? Are you better off ordering?
No, I mean, I guess depends what you mean by safest bet. Safest bet's probably going to be vodka, because vodka, sort of regardless of what it is distilled pretty much the same way. At least for some of the big macro brands. You get interesting choices made by some of the craft distillers of vodka, but by and large, I mean, the U.S. government defines it as being colorless, odorless, and flavorless. So you're making essentially the same product.
See, there we go. That's why you're here, Thomas Moore. Let Us Entertain You. All right. So besides the drinks you're about to show me, let's say stay-at-home orders lifted. You're having 50 people at your house. What are you making to impress them? What are you mixing up?
If I'm having 50 people at my house, I'm going to misattribute this quote probably. I'm pretty sure it's from Dave Wondrich, who's a cocktail historian, and he's written a bunch of books. And he talks about, like, if you're having a huge party at your house, you don't want to have drinks that you have to be making the whole night, because then you don't get to be the host. You have to be the bartender all night. So he always recommends making like a big punch bowl. You make it in advance, and then everybody just serves themselves, and you get to go and hang out in the party.
It's like teach
So
a man to fish.
that would be my move. I would make a big punch bowl and say, serve yourselves, guys. I'm going to go hang out.
That makes sense. All right. So what are you going to make for us tonight?
Tonight I have a Wisconsin old fashioned.
True to
which
our
is something that
Midwestern.
we sell a ton of them at Elwood's. It's sort of like the drink of Elwood's.
So, okay, I did carry out at Elwood's, the
Mhm.
curbside back of the restaurant. I did it like 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
Elwood's is actually selling kits. Like
Yeah,
make
we
them at home.
basically tried to your point about we all need to have something that we can like drink at home that's a little bit nicer or more interesting or what have you. But we didn't want to, I didn't want to put all of the work onto the guests that are coming in. So we've tried to essentially recreate the restaurant experience of having one of our cocktails at home. And so
So
the
in
kit that we're
Elwood's,
selling,
we should explain what Elwood's is. Elwood's
Oh,
is
yeah.
the supper club concept,
Mhm.
nightly specials. There's a prime rib night. The fried chicken's great. It's a really fun place, but it has that very Midwestern,
Totally.
maybe northern Wisconsin.
It's based
supper
on the
club vibe.
Wisconsin Supper Club, the classic Wisconsin Supper Club.
Yeah, I just wanted to provide a little context. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And so, and that's why, brown and boozy, the stirred whiskey drinks, the stirred boozy spirit forward drinks are the things that are popular in supper clubs. And so our, top selling cocktails are old fashions. We feature them prominently because they fit the concept. You have barbecue ribs and you have an old fashioned and everything feels right in that moment. And I remember when the team was talking about how we wanted to tackle this sort of idea of, okay, we can't have people in the restaurant. We can't create the normal restaurant experience that we're used to providing people. How do we recreate that experience in the home environment? And a part of the experience for any meal is what you're drinking with it. Sure. Even if it's, whether it be alcoholic or not. Now, obviously my focus is on the cocktail, but we wanted to find a way to bring that part of the experience to the home. And so we're selling kits they're full bottles of spirit. I mean, you're getting like an entire bottle. So the kit itself makes probably anywhere from 13 to 16 cocktails. And, not that I cannot, I suppose, legally recommend that you consume that many cocktails in one evening.
Certainly not.
But yeah, if you have,
over time, over the next several months,
or a couple of adults in quarantine together that want to enjoy it all together, you can do it that way. But yeah, so the one that we sell at Elwood's is almost an exact recreation of the one that we make in the restaurant. What I have tonight, I picked an upgraded brandy because I just love this stuff. This is Copper and Kings. You can see it. It's made in Louisville, and it's like a bourbon barrel aged American brandy, and it's just delicious. So that's the one that I grabbed tonight to make something with it. And then at Elwood's, we do a lemon cordial. This is like a lemon syrup. We get that from a guy who produces stuff locally. His name is Todd Apple. His commercial kitchen is right down the street on Lincoln Avenue, right down the street from Elwood's.
So you get your lemon from a guy named Apple.
His name is Todd Apple, not spelled like the fruit, but yeah, it's sort of fitting that he went into the fruit cordial business.
Yeah, he was kind of
incredibly friendly guy, and also great for us to be able to support somebody who's producing local.
Well, that's just it. Every decision I make right now, I'm trying to point toward local.
Totally.
Stores, restaurants, whatever I could do. It's not like I'm going out or spending money at any great clip, but when I do, I'm trying to pump that money back into local businesses, restaurants as much as I can. I feel like we're all kind of honor bound to do that right now.
Honor bound, I suppose. Yeah, if you want your communities to look the way that they looked before this, if you valued having those restaurants and those smaller shops and those local purveyors, if you liked having those people around, then absolutely we should be doing everything we can to try to support each other. And that's been something that we did as a company. We liked to source locally where we could, and we liked to develop those relationships with partners that had been with us for years. And we did that before COVID, and we'll continue to do that during and after COVID.
All right, so let's go back to the old fashioned. We've got
Yeah.
the brandy, we've got the lemon syrup.
Yep.
What
And then
else?
the last ingredient for any old fashioned aromatic bitter. So this is, I mean, I have a fancy dasher bottle, but this is Angostura bitters.
It looks like there's a genie in there. Like if you rub that, actually, you
I
should rub
mean,
that. Let's see what happens.
It will grant wishes. Angostura does grant wishes. So,
So you have to be modest with the amount of bitters you use, don't you?
yeah, I mean, so the idea behind the dasher cap, which you can kind of see here, this thing controls the flow out of this bottle, is that you use bitters kind of like you would use salt and pepper in a dish. You know, you're seasoning to taste with bitters, and the dasher cap restricts the flow enough that you can, you know, usually our recipes would say like 2 to 3 dashes. And if you put 4 dashes in, you're not going to break the cocktail. If you put 10 dashes in, it's a very different drink. So it's
you're
just
very unpopular. You're a very unpopular host if you do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, show me.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm trying to see if you can angle this down a little bit.
Oh, there it is.
So there's the mixing glass.
Again, at El Woods, maybe you buy some ribs, some fried chicken, and boom, there's your old fashioned kit.
And this would come to your table, you know, ready to go. So for the sweetener component, we do like either a quarter or a half an ounce, depending on kind of like the level of sweetness that you like. And then you do 2 to 3 dashes of bitters. This one's not.
And the brandy goes in last.
I mean, as long as you don't forget it, it doesn't really matter what order you do these in.
How could you forget it?
And then 2 ounces of the brandy.
This is easily the worst part of quarantine, is watching you make this cocktail. This virtual thing isn't working for me at all.
I remember, was it like back in like the 90s, they tried to invent smell-o-vision?
Yeah, it may have even been before that.
I need to be able to like hand this through the camera to you. All right, I'm gonna go grab some ice real quick. We couldn't.
Now, do you have that sweet, like big, chunky, square bartender ice at your house?
Yeah, so I actually, again, I told you to be at the top of this thing, I'm a nerd about this stuff. So I actually bought there's a company, I want to say it's based out of Massachusetts, at least that's where they ship from, called Clearly Frozen. And they make this tray that freezes perfectly clear ice cubes. It's a good one.
This is nerdy, but I totally appreciate it.
So it's actually, I mean, we'll get off on a tangent if I start talking about ice. When I teach bartenders, you can kind of see it here.
Yes. See, this is really, it's a tease.
Yeah. So when I teach bartenders about this stuff, and I talk about ice being sort of, I guess I can show you this. Give it a little stir.
Yeah.
Everything mixed, chilled, diluted. So when we talked about ice with bartenders who are training, we talk about the fact that it's one of those ingredients people don't really think about. Like ice is an ingredient, right? It's going in the cocktail, and as it melts, it's adding volume to the cocktail. So the quality of the ice has a huge impact on what that cocktail is going to look and taste like.
Sure.
When you have little trapped air bubbles, that will cause the ice to break faster, and it'll dilute the drink faster. And a great old fashioned should be sipped over a long period of time, and it should develop over the course of sipping it. So when you have it breaking into little pieces, it melts faster and it dilutes faster, and that's not ideal. And then if you have things that are impure, if you're using, ice with impurities in it, that will, affect the flavor. Everybody's had probably ice from their freezer that starts to take on the flavor of those peas that have been in the back for 6 months or something.
Yeah, the salmon I threw in there before it went bad, the chicken nuggets and the
and those flavors, while attractive in the food itself, maybe not so much in the old fashioned. So
yeah, the salmon's not working in the old fashioned. I want to thank some people who are watching right now. Carol says, all right, excited to see some drinks. I think we all are. Joe is here. Stacy, Dan Richmond, Darren is here. Patrick is here. Rick, Sean, thank you all for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
That right there is Thomas Moore from Let Us Entertain You. He is the Divisional Bar Training Manager, and we are near the completion of an old fashioned.
Yes, here we go.
I'm ready.
Strain the drink off over the large cube.
That
And
looks
then-
refreshing. That
and
looks
then
like something I want right now.
through the magic of Zoom television, I have a prepared garnish.
That is magical. That is
And there you
magical.
go.
And so these are being sold at Elwood's. Is that strictly an Elwood's thing, or are other lettuce restaurants doing that?
A lot of our restaurants are doing cocktail kits. Specifically, the Wisconsin Old Fashioned is an Elwood's thing, but
Yeah.
we're doing kits out of many of our other concepts. RPM has them. Summer House has them. Abba, Beatrix. It's one of those things, like I said, we all Three Dots, Club City, all those places. It's one of those things where we all, like I said, we were trying to figure out ways to bring up part of the experience. The food stuff, the food delivery and food pickup stuff, we sort of worked that out as a culture.
Yeah.
But this is a sort of a new thing for us to try to figure out creative ways to get that experience fully in the home.
Well, and also we're in a situation where if we're going out, we don't want to make multiple stops.
Right.
So if I'm going out to pick up a giant bag of food from Elwood's, let me take care of the cocktails there too, instead of running to a liquor store or a grocery store. One-stop shopping is key right now. Minimize your time out, get what you need, get back home.
I had a woman today at Elwood's pick up food, and she saw that we had these Moscow Mule kits, and she was like, "That sounds like something I want with dinner tonight." And I was like, "I'm happy to give you one."
That is a fantastic impulse purchase.
Yeah, I fully supported that purchase.
I'm sure you did. Did you want to try to make another cocktail, or am I putting you on the spot?
Sure. Maybe. I mean, what do you want to see? I got pretty much everything here. So
again, the people who are watching or listening, we're stuck at home, so we're living with the ingredients we have. We're not going out.
Things that are easy.
We're not going to be muddling anything. We're not going to be finding any kind of exotic mixers. What's a good simple drink that doesn't make us feel like we're on Skid Row?
I mean, I can tell you, like, my personal favorite probably would be a pineapple daiquiri.
See, now that sounds like that would be hard to make.
No, it's not. Here, I'll go grab. It'll take me 15 seconds, not even.
I will give you that 15 seconds. I want to thank Denise, who just joined us, also Mark and Eddie and Stephanie and Joe. Thank you for watching. It is Carne. I'm doing this every night. Back in February, January, I used to do this in my car, but now I do it from right here in what I laughingly call my home office. That right there is Thomas. We were talking earlier about how Elwood's over in Lincolnwood, it's right off Toohey, very close to the Eden's exit. They do these to-go kits with booze. You can make your own, like, Wisconsin Old Fashioned at home. You bring your food home, make a couple cocktails, and make the night something special. Tomorrow night on Carne, Quarantine Con Carne, Veil of Maya, long-running, beloved, respected, super heavy, mostly death metal band from Chicago, joining me. Some true guitar virtuosity in that band, Veil of Maya. Then in the days to come, Super Kick will be joining me. They're a fun, pop punky sort of band, a fun sort of pop punky band. Also next week, I will have, I forgot, I've got Jamal Eigel, comic book artist, who I'm kind of excited about. He'll be joining on Wednesday. And then I know I had someone else booked for next week. Oh, yeah, the Popo Report. My friends, the cops. The Popo Report. Paul and Lupe, who do a show about police work and law and order on WLSAM on the weekend. They'll be joining me to talk about cop stuff. These guys are pure Chicago police, and that's always fun talking to them. All right, so Thomas is back.
All right.
We're talking pineapple daiquiris.
I mean, this is, I guess you would say guilty pleasure, but I don't think, I don't feel guilty about it.
I don't believe in guilty pleasures.
Yeah,
I used to when I was younger, whether it was music or cocktails. Guilty pleasures are bullshit. You like what you like.
Yeah. So the daiquiri in general is just such a simple drink to begin with. It's lime, sugar, and spirit, rum. That's it. Mm-hmm. All the stuff that we did to it afterwards, all the blended and the strawberry and stuff, that all came later. It originated as just like a rum, sugar, and lime drink. And it's best when it's simple like that. So I'm going to juice a lime here.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get about an ounce of lime juice. Now these
having a juicer is key. You don't want to just cut a lemon or a lime and try to squeeze it with your hand. You won't get everything out of it. You need one of those legit
The hand
pressed-
juices, yeah. They make like really gangster versions of this that are these huge hand press guys that are beautiful, but they're expensive. I don't have them.
Yeah.
And that works fine for the one or two I make at home.
You're gangster enough.
Yeah. And then ordinarily you would do like simple syrup. This is actually simple syrup with demerara sugar. So a little bit richer in flavor.
And simple syrup is just water and sugar.
Yeah, 1-to-1 by weight.
Mhm.
1 part by weight sugar, 1 part by weight water. You get that, you get an ounce of lime juice, 3/4 of an ounce of like a demerara or any kind of simple syrup, and then 2 ounces of rum. And when I use the pineapple, this is what I mean by it being easy. One of bartenders' favorite rums. This is Plantation Stiggins Fancy Pineapple Rum. So all of the work to make that flavor is done by these producers.
I swear I smelled the rum when you opened it. I smelled it over here. The sound of the cork, I could get that waft over where I am. Thank you.
There we go. And then you just give this thing a good long hard shake, strain it into this coupe here, and be transported to an island.
Thomas, can we become best friends?
Yeah, I think that's a Step Brothers quote, I think, right? I think we did just become.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Here we go.
That's a pro right there. You're watching a true professional shake it up there.
I can honestly say I've never shaken a cocktail sitting down before. It's a new experience.
There it is.
Some people will garnish this with like a lime something. I don't really believe in that. I think the garnish gets in the way of the daiquiri. This thing, you want to just drink this thing as quick as possible. So
it's gorgeous. And the verdict?
And it literally tastes like liquid vacation. It is immediately transports you.
I love it.
Actually, that may be even a better reason to drink one right now. If I close my eyes, I'm on a beach.
Yeah, it was gray and dreary, and it's been raining like crazy. Now's a good time to be beach focused. So good call. Okay, so at Elwood's, you've got the drink to go kits. You've got Moscow mules and old fashions. Is that it?
Oh yeah, 2 different old fashions. The classic, which is a bourbon based old fashioned, and then the Wisconsin, which is brandy based. A Manhattan kit and a Moscow mule kit.
That is so supper club. Right on. Yeah. Elwood's is on Lincoln Avenue, just south of Toohey and just east of the Edens Expressway. It's been one of my favorite places for a very long time. But the whole Lettuce Entertain You chain, all the restaurants in and around the city and burbs, absolutely love. There's just a higher standard. When you get food from a Lettuce restaurant, you're getting a good meal. Like you don't walk out disappointed. I went to Shaw's a couple weeks ago, hadn't been there in years, couple months ago, hadn't been there in years. Everything was just, unchanged, just as good as the last time I went years ago. That's Lettuce Entertaining.
That's nice of you to say. I can tell you, the teams that I work with genuinely care about getting good food to people, taking care of people. We genuinely believe that. I know it sounds like a thing I'm supposed to say, but truly, the teams really want to do right by the people coming in.
Well, I'm glad to see the Lettuce restaurants are hanging in there, all things considered. And I know this is not an ideal time for anyone, but especially the service industry. So thanks for doing what you do. We'll keep supporting you.
I'm honestly happy to do it. I've been very fortunate that I've been able to turn a thing I love into the thing I do for work.
Yeah, that's the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank everyone for watching on Facebook Live. I am going to kill the Facebook Live now. Thank you for watching.